Hello, ma'am. How are you doing?
Doing well.
We had an amazing session. We enjoyed the session. And this is definitely my fan moment because I finished reading Bhima's life and I loved it. Thank you for this opportunity and agreeing to this interview.
Thank you very much. Fun. I loved the review, of course. And yes, I would love to discuss the book.
Yes. So, my first question is definitely what made you choose Hidden Bee? When it comes to writing, you have written about Tara, you have written about Karna's Ahalya, and everyone. So, what made you choose Hidden Bee?
Hidden Bee, I think I decided I was planning to write about almost 15 years ago, before I wrote even Karna's wife, was when I visited Hidimbi temple at Manali. So, that whole story. What struck me was that she was a single mother. I mean, we talk about single mothers in our epics. The first one is, of course, Shakuntala, then you have Sita, and then you have Hidimbi, who, the way she raises her son without any negativity, without any malice, without any anger or regret, I think sort of showing her position, her uh, position. I think that shows her greatness because I think she transcends from. There's nothing petty about her. Though she's an abandoned wife, she's not just abandoned. She's almost forgotten by Beam. So he never turns back, and so she doesn't allow that to influence her in any way while raising her son. And then the tragedy that she has to sacrifice her son for the very fact, for like she is Beam's wife, a status which was never given to her. So I think Hidimbi, I think, is the symbol of the most. She is the most silent voice. She is the most silenced voice, and I think she is the symbol of oppressive social injustice. I mean, she just not been given her. She did not get what she deserved because she was unimportant for them. The moment her role was, I mean, she played her role, she sort of reduced to a very peripheral entity and she's dismissed. So the fact that she was unimportant made her invisible. So I think Hidimbi needs, because I think that is also the story of many women, because many women are not in many families still women are not considered important. Their voice is not heard, their opinions are not heard, they are unimportant for them, so they are not visible, they are not taken into, they are not included at all in any of the family decisions, in any personal decision. So I think Hidimbi is also, there are a lot of Hidimbis around us.
So I was just coming to that. That in your book there is a conversation between Draupadi and Hidimbi that is really empowering. So, what you want the world to carry from that conversation?
That women are not women's enemies. That is a very, very wrong, convenient narrative that has been told to us for since centuries. And the stories which have been told about women have always been about squabbling women, whether it's mother-in-law, daughter-in-law. Have you heard of any story about a hostile father-in-law and a son-in-law, or even a hostile father and a son, which is a extremely mm, if not toxic, it's definitely a very fragile relationship. It's never talked about. It's always the women, because I think patriarchy again. When I say the mother-in-law, she represents patriarchy. So she is not a woman. So I think it is not about gender here or about, because I think patriarchy is the thought, is the way you treat people, the way you think. So here it is just that.
So, ma'am, you wrote about Hidimbi. Like Hidimbi is someone who is bold, who live on her own terms. So now, when you see women are living on her own terms, so how difficult or how creative it was for you to balance that voice of today's woman and Hidimbi during that time. So how did you do that creative balance.
Actually, I just wanted the today's women and girls, especially, to know about Hidimbi on that. Imagine even today, would a girl just go up to her potential mother-in-law say, "Look, I want to marry your son because I'm in love with him, and he happens also to be in love with me." I don't think any girl would do that. I mean, that sort of courage. I mean, the confidence, that natural confidence she had. I think what Hidimbi is shows is that she is a natural she's a natural but she's a person from the forest, so she is very close to nature. She is very basic, very honest, very upfront. So I think in today's time that is exactly what is needed. You should know what you want and try to get what you want.
Coming to that, why do you think one must read Indian mythology and how it continues to remain relevant in every generation?
Because I think we tend to confuse the stories of these stories as ancient stories of gods and goddesses and apsaras and gandharvas. No, it's about us. They're stories about men and women and children, kings and queens and princesses and soldiers, saints, villains. So it's about humanity, it's about the humankind. And the sad part is that in that humankind there are two species, male and female. We are only talking about the male stories, the men, we don't see the women. So I think the women, which is the other half, needs to be seen, needs to be heard, needs to be recognized, needs to be respected, and need to be. I think that is the relevance in today's society, because that these stories are not moral stories, they are not fables. They have a huge psychological, emotional and philosophical gravitas. So I think each that is what makes one woman different from the other, however small role she plays in the narrative. I think the same likewise. Never, I mean, there are so many, each one contributes in her own way. So I think she, at the moment she realizes what her worth is, which is the most important thing, she should realize her own worth and go ahead in life.
So, ma'am, what do you think? Did Indian mythology already had villains, or the situation made them villains of mythology, or were they really the villains?
No, no, I don't think anyone is born a villain. He's made a villain.
Yes.
Honestly, of course, there are evil. I mean, but in our stories, it is not that. No one is born wicked.
Yes.
He happens to. I think I tried to tell that in Lanka's Princess in Surpana, because that's the first time I decided. I said, let me write about a negative an antagonist. So why that whole thing about from Meenakshi she becomes a Surpanaka? That is the story in Lanka's Princess. So I think the situation, how you react to a situation, is very important. So that's why I said in Hidimbi she doesn't allow it to make her. It doesn't allow, she not only is she not bitter, she doesn't allow it to percolate in her relationship with her son. She had that goodness, that basic goodness, the basic honesty. And I have tried to show Hidimbi in with all her flaws also.
Yes.
Like as you said, you mentioned Draupadi. When Ghatochka gets close to Draupadi, that jealousy, the jealous a mother feels.
Which is very natural, and
Yes,
we
and then
don't
the fear.
often
That is
see.
the first time she feels fear. Is she going to lose her son also? So I think these sort of seeing a woman in all her vulnerabilities, her emotions, her situation, I think that adds her as an individual. Because the sad part is that we see a woman immediately in roles. She's this one's wife, she's this one's daughter, she's this one's sister-in-law, uski mother. वो कौन है? Who is she? I mean, that she part is very important. We don't see a woman as an individual at all.
So, ma'am, any other characters from Indian mythology that excites you, like the character that is unheard and you would like to write more about?
That would be my next book, and my next book, and my next book. So I think, as I said, I think each woman deserves a 300-page book, because most all of them are not only fascinating, they're intriguing, but they're very important. Each the story has a certain relevance, as you said correctly, to today's girls, today's women. So I think yes, let me just go on that road of discovery.
And if you have to write about men, whom would you write about?
Actually, would not write about men because there are men writing about men. But yes, I'd love to write about Ram, honestly, because he is an extremely. We see him in a very unidimensional way.
Yes.
We don't see him as a human at all. We have completely deified him and made him into the model of perfection, and the disappointment which comes with when you have a hero, you know.
Correct.
So Ram is definitely one person. In the Mahabharata, I think Vidur. I think
That is an interesting
I think
character.
Vidur is since I've written on like Karna, I think his I think story is more tragic than Karna because
Yes.
Karna got his what do you say moments of glory. Vidur
True,
is
true,
sort of
true.
remained sidelined all along. I
Yes,
mean,
and
and though he was the he was
he
deserved to
was
be
the
the king.
anchor somewhere
He was
in
the
the
best among the
Mahabharata.
three, and he did not.
Yes,
Here it is a
yes,
straight
yes.
case of birth defining worth.
Worth.
So
Correct. And ma'am, how does mythology guides us?
I think, as I said, they are not just a moral guide; they are a philosophical, and because they are telling our story. So I think it's therapy. If you read about mythology stories,
True.
you immediately relate to them. There is a certain sense of immediacy, because and that is therapeutic.
True.
I mean, the responses I get from most readers is that it is a sort of a catharsis when you are reading this, because yes, they are telling, and there are different aspects, factors of our life, which is, and that is the beauty of the epics. I mean, you think of any emotion, anything, and it is there in the epics. Any problem, any hindrance, any weakness, any weakness which can become any vice, everything is there. So I think it is the epics are the world in the pages.
True, definitely. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time and for this interview. It was lovely speaking to you, and we look forward to reading all your books of the
Please
unknown
do, and let me know.
heroes of
I love the
mythology.
feedbacks because I think that is the most important way an
Yes,
author can connect to the readers and correct. Many times we don't realize that you are where you might be going wrong. So I think the readers are the best critics also.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.